Welcome to another weekly installment of Turnpike Sports. I am Dave Weishuttle, and as always, I am joined by the producer of the year, co-host of the year, Doug Weishuttle. Doug, hey, how you doing?
Is there such an award for that?
I don't know.
And why haven't I got it yet?
I know. There should be.
I am doing good. This has been an interesting week. Not only did we have the start of the NFL football training camps.
Great time of year.
We have another New Jersey sportsbook opening up. And this has been changing every so often. It looks like we're going to see another one in Atlantic City.
Yeah, no, Bally's on the boardwalk. Bally's Atlantic City on the boardwalk. And look, everyone's scrambling, like you said, start of the NFL season. So I think those two are kind of related. I think everyone's scrambling to get their sports books up. And I probably in the next week or two, I'm hearing maybe some mobile sites in Jersey are going to start offering some sports betting. So we shall see.
Yeah, you always say that these things are starting to happen almost every day. We've been talking about sports betting since the Supreme Court decision, and it's almost like every single show is going to have sports betting, which is not a bad thing.
No, hey,
it's not a bad thing. And just also so people know, there's also going to be another sports book probably opening up soon in Freehold.
Freehold, yeah.
They're not going to make the first week of the football.
Yeah, someone told me don't expect by the first weekend of football, but pretty soon after. But when you're talking about football, you got to talk about fantasy sports too, and the two big daily fantasy sports providers, FanDuel and DraftKings, will both. Well, FanDuel already has a sports book. DraftKings has a deal with resorts in Atlantic City, so they're really going to be a big presence in the state of New Jersey. And I look for one of these two big daily fantasy sport providers to open up their sports book pretty soon.
Well, don't sleep on Hard Rock either, because you know what? You had Ocean Resort open up with a sports book.
Sure.
They actually had their online stuff up and running.
Sure.
Before the casino opened up. I'm talking about the casino, not an online sports book. No one's done that yet.
You know who's been very quiet with regard to online sports betting is William Hill. They are a sports book provider for Monmouth Park and also a sports book provider for Ocean Resort in Atlantic City. So I have not heard anything about their online site, which hey, don't sleep on them. They might be the first one, but I'm thinking FanDuel or DraftKings might jump.
I'm dying to see what Golden Nugget does. They have the deal with Churchill Downs.
Yes.
And everything they're doing online is just killing it in terms of the online casino stuff.
Sure,
they're leading the way.
They were the first to have the online dealers, weren't they?
Exactly.
So
they keep expanding. They now have an online dealer / in the casino kind of thing. There's a live blackjack table being played in the casino, but it's online as well. It's part of the live dealer stuff. So don't sleep on them. I wouldn't be surprised you see them be one of the first online guys.
As you can tell from our conversation, everything's up in the air when it comes to online sports betting. But some when you talk about brick and mortar, they're growing.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see what happens. It's changing almost every day. The landscape is crazy.
Yeah, it's been a busy world of sports in this past week. So let's take a ride on the Turnpike.
Exit 1.
Now that we have talked about the exciting world of sports betting in Atlantic City and New Jersey,
let's talk about Vegas.
We're going over to Vegas. And this is about the new Raiders Stadium. And more details about the stadium have come out. And every time I'm reading about this stadium, this may be the first stadium I'm thinking that is worth the money they're putting into it.
I don't know. Dallas is pretty good. I mean, I'm not a Dallas fan, but Dallas has a pretty damn good stadium.
This is being built not only to have concerts and regular season games, but they're building it with what looks like the goal is to get the Super Bowl.
Well, sure. Oh, my God. Can you imagine the Super Bowl in Vegas?
How about this?
That'd be amazing.
This is big enough. From what I'm seeing, they're talking about 120,000 square feet of private club space. This is what they just announced. They're making this really, really luxurious. They're this almost has the feel they're trying to get the World Cup at some point.
Why not?
Which would make sense. But these club seats sound amazing. They're going to have one set of club seats between the 10-yard lines with wider padded seating on the lower levels, so you can see the game day action really good from these things. Every club space is going to have in-seat services to order refreshments, so you're going to be able to do it from your seat.
Wow. So you're going to have an app?
Probably you're going to have to have an app. They're going to
That's
get
cool.
they're going to get private parking. A lot of stadiums do that. I know MetLife does that for their club seatings too. But they have private parking.
Oh, for the app to order?
No.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about private parking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They have private parking for the club seat ticket holders. They get early access before the games. They're even developing a club level on either side of the field so you can watch the teams come in and out of the stadium.
You know, the signage at this stadium is going to be worth so much. I mean, every casino is going to advertise with that stadium. They might even buy the club seats themselves and give them to the high rollers. Can you imagine that?
I have yet to hear the stance on whether or not they're going to allow casino advertising in the stadium. I'm assuming now with sports betting going national, the NFL has to open that up.
They'd lose so much. I mean, look, you always give comps or perks to your high rollers. I'm talking about the casinos. Why can't tickets to a Raiders game be one of those comps? Why can't it be one of the things that they give to the whales who spend a lot in their casinos? I mean, it makes sense, but who knows? NFL is going to have to relax some of its rules with regard to sports betting.
I think so, but this is, like I said, this might be one of the first stadiums I can say is worth the money. And unfortunately, you're going to have to pay a personal seat license to be part of this. They haven't released those prices, so they're going to be sky high.
Well, you're familiar with the Jets. How much is a personal seat license with the Jets?
It varies. It goes up to $25,000 at some point.
See, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean that's well, you know what? That's the reality of this stuff. That's how they're actually paying for some of this with some personal seat licenses. And in Vegas, you may see people do that because the out of towners that go to the high rollers actually will treat this as an event. Any regular season game that they can go to, that's going to be part of the thing. Golden Knights actually realized all this. They sold out almost every game at home.
Sure. And then they have some weird provision that you can't sell
for the playoffs,
that you can't sell your playoff tickets.
Your home playoff tickets.
Your home playoff tickets. I don't think the Raiders are going to have something like that, but
Well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Exit 2.
Continuing with our sports betting talk.
Boy, a lot of sports betting.
You're going to see the first television sports talk show dealing just with sports betting. Fox Sports is going to be launching a show that is being labeled as Around the Horn for sports betting.
Well, see, that's great. I mean, look, if hopefully they'll give tips and some analysis with that in mind, and who's going to be involved with it?
Well,
that's important.
We have Carissa Thompson.
Okay,
she used to be on ESPN.
She's good,
and also Fox now. Brent Musburger is going to be there, of course.
VSIN.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I think is the first talk show regarding sports betting. So let's not forget VSIN.
Well, you got to remember, VSIN just got huge new investors with 76 investments from Philadelphia, which is what's his name? The former Philly, Ryan Howard. He's one of the members of that investment group.
Sure.
They're expecting them to be like the CNBC of sports betting.
I like that. I like that analogy.
But they're going to be launching this. It's going to be starting in the fall on Fox Sports TV.
Who's the odds maker? Usually they have
Todd Furman.
Todd Furman. Okay, he's good. He's very good.
Probably I don't know. Is he part of VSIN? Because I think he is with Fox only.
I don't know. I don't know if he does stints with VSIN or. I see Brent Musburger is going to be doing the Fox thing too, or supposedly doing the Fox thing, and that's the connection of VSIN. Maybe that's how they got Todd Furman, but I don't know where Todd is, where his contract is or what he's doing.
Well, I want to see how the NFL does this one too, because Musburger's doing this show, he's doing VSIN, he's now the voice of the Raiders too.
Okay,
for radio, and you're combining two different gambling entities with an NFL team again.
That'd be interesting to hear. I'm always a big fan of Brent Musburger. I grew up in the 70s, and that was part of my Sunday when it's football time when you hear Brent Musburger say, "You're looking live at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia." So that's I love when he talks on TV or the radio, so it's going to be a great thing.
And with everything going on with the sports betting with VSIN and everything else he's doing, he's having a career resurgence again. This is almost like unheard of at his age to actually almost have this kind of level of
well, it's great that he's working with his son, too. So
Brian.
Yeah, VSIN.
Yep.
So. And so when is this show going to be?
It's going to start in the fall. It's going to be a weekday show. It's an hour, 5 to 6.
Oh, it's an everyday show.
It's an everyday show.
I like this. Good, good.
It's an hour. It's an hour a day during the week.
Exit 3.
Now, every year, the world's 50 most valuable sports teams list gets released by Forbes, and for the third straight year, the Dallas Cowboys were number one.
Well, yeah, we knew that was going to happen. You know, America's team. I don't know why they're still called America's team. In the 70s, like I said, when we were watching football, I think they were the most televised, so that's how they got that moniker, America's team. But I don't know about that anymore. But
well, the big news and the big change was 3 of the top 5 were soccer teams this year.
Well, sure. I mean,
Manchester United, Real Madrid, and Barcelona.
Okay, yeah.
And the Yankees were number 5.
Which is surprising. Which is interesting thing about the Yankees. Don't they own Manchester United?
Yes, they do.
Okay, well, good for the Yankees.
So, and you have, rounding out everything here, 8 teams from basketball, 7 teams from soccer, 6 baseball teams. The NFL had 29 of the 50 spots. Only 3 teams didn't make the cut from the NFL, the Bills, Bengals, and Lions. The Browns made the cut for the most valuable, one of the most valuable sports teams. They were number 50.
See, I'm very surprised that Cleveland made it, but not the Bills, Bengals, and Lions, which is very interesting to me.
Cleveland was worth $1.95 billion. And that's up $200 million from 2017. They weren't in this list last year.
Well, that might be a bigger sports market, media market, and so that might put them over the top. I mean, Buffalo's not a big media market. Cincinnati is medium. Detroit is medium. But, surprised.
Well, you have 106 sports franchises worth at least $1 billion in the world. And that's up from 87 last year. So revenue's going up. Everybody's enjoying money coming in from everything. But, yeah, it's always interesting to see this list, just to see who makes it each and every year. And, again, the top 5 was different this year only because there were 3 soccer teams. But Dallas always leads the way. Your Philadelphia Eagles were number 22. My Jets were 21.
Sure.
So,
Well, Jets are New York City. Well, not New York City, but they represent New York City.
They should have been a little higher, I would have thought. But, it's one of those things. We'll see what happens.
But Giants were higher, though, right?
Giants were higher. But, yeah, the Yankees were the top New York team.
Sure.
Exit 4.
Well, the Major League Baseball All Star game was just held in the Nationals Park down in D.C. And the only reason I want to talk about this is because everyone's making a big deal about the ratings were down.
Of course they were, because I didn't see a pitch. Truth be known, I'm going to come out right now. I didn't see one pitch.
Well, the ratings had their lowest point in 50 years. They had 8.6 million viewers on Fox TV. They had 43,000 people in attendance. But this is one thing I just wanted to talk about.
When you're in attendance, it's more of a festival atmosphere. It's more you bring the kids, they see their favorite players. But you know what? If you're not going there, I know a couple years ago they tried to do, now this year it counts where the winner,
that was stupid.
Where the winner of let's say the American League wins, then the World Series
is the home team is the American League,
which was stupid. I mean, certainly ratings matter because they do stuff like that. But look, I didn't watch it.
Well, it was nice to see it being hosted by the Nationals. This is their first All-Star game hosting the Nationals, the team. It's the second time the franchise has hosted the All-Star game. They were the Montreal Expos the last time they hosted the All-Star game.
It's great having it in Washington because that could be, people are in Washington with their families on vacation, and that could be one element of their vacation. Yeah, hey, let's go to the All-Star game. Let's go see the home run hitting contest and things like that. But look, I don't know anyone who's ever traveled to a All-Star game.
Me neither. But the reason I wanted to talk about this, it had the lowest ratings, but of all the All-Star games in the past year, they had the highest ad revenue. And it goes, it's one of those things, it's annoying when a lot of people talk about the lowering of the ratings of all these different sports events. People in the NFL mention all this all the time. People aren't watching. They're watching different ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can watch on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. But let me just preface this by saying I don't watch any All-Star game. I don't watch the NHL. I don't watch the Pro Bowl. I don't watch the NBA. I just don't.
Well, don't tell that to the advertisers of the Major League Baseball All Star game. They brought in $44.8 million from that game alone.
Well, that's great.
The NBA came closest with $43.9. The NFL, $3.9 million in ad revenue. That's one no one watches.
But and it's interesting because when I was a kid, I used to watch all those games. I mean, it was great. I loved the Pro Bowl. Because you know why? Because everyone played in it. If Terry Bradshaw went to the Super Bowl, guess what? The next week he was in Hawaii playing at the Pro Bowl.
Well,
They don't do that anymore.
remember back then, people were playing it as a game. Now they're playing it as a little spectacle. No one wants to get hurt.
Yeah,
especially after the one Patriot, was it Stephen Thomas? They were doing the flag football game on the sand, and he tore his knee up or something.
Yeah.
So, but it goes to that, and it's one of these arguments I keep hearing people say, and it's starting to get really annoying about how every team, the NFL is losing viewership, so they're not doing so well. Baseball is not; people aren't watching it. Yeah, it's the different platforms that are out there, and I think people have to start coming to grips with there's different ways to watch a game now.
Yeah, there are different ways to watch it. I mean, look, if there was some games this year on Facebook, I guess there's going to be more.
There's going to be a lot more.
Yeah, there's going to be more. So,
and you know what? Phones are now doing the AT&T deal with the NFL, all these other things. Don't worry about ratings anymore, because the ratings are going to change anyway, because they got to start incorporating all these other.
Well, they got to find another way to measure it. They got to find another way.
I mean, they're doing it for radio.
Sure.
So they're finding out how to measure the podcast. They're measuring how to do the online listenerships. They're looking at all these different ways of measuring an audience. And at some point, you're going to start seeing this. And I hate to use your word, because you use it a couple times in a couple interviews. The ratings way is going to normalize.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to find new ways to measure how many people are watching. You're going to see how many click-throughs, how many streaming views there are, how many. I don't even know if they use the Nielsen boxes anymore. So
they use something like that.
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows? All
right, that's the ride on the Turnpike for this week. To get in touch with us, call or text us at 609-512-6510. That's 609-512-6510. On Facebook or Twitter, we're at Turnpike Sports. Email us at info@turnpikesportsradio.com. Also, don't forget to order your calendars from the International Bikini Team, info@internationalbikini-team.org. That is their email address to get the ordering information. And don't forget, you can catch the show on iTunes, iHeart, Stitcher Radio, and also on YouTube. So we hope to have you enjoy the show in one way or another, and hope you have a good time with it. You've got a great interview coming up.
Oh, boy, I am thrilled. Anyone from the East Coast and the Northeast knows this journalist. He is John Brennan, and he writes now for usbets.com and NJOnlineGambling.com. And he's been covering the sports business and the gambling scene in New Jersey and New York since 2002. And what amazing information, what amazing contacts he has. We got the pleasure of meeting him at the opening of the FanDuel Sportsbook in the Meadowlands.
Great guy.
Amazing guy. And he knows everything to know about casinos and sports betting. And we're going to talk to him right after this.
Stick around for more Turnpike Sports.
You've been hearing me talk about MyPillow and the benefits of using it to get a good night's sleep and alleviate your sore neck and back, and all the special deals you can get through our show. Now, for a limited time, when you buy one MyPillow premium pillow, you get a second one for free. That's right, free, when you use our promo code CARDS at checkout. Head on over to MyPillow.com and click on the buy one, get one free link. You can choose the size of each pillow and choose the fill of each one. You get the same 60-day money-back guarantee, the same 10-year warranty, and all MyPillow pillows are made with their patented interlocking fill. That's the buy one, get one free offer from MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-319-7913 to order by phone. Don't forget to use our promo code CARDS when checking out to take advantage of this great new offer from MyPillow. That's promo code CARDS, C-A-R-D-S. Better sleep starts with MyPillow.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff that will spice up your bedroom is even better. Just go to adamandeve.com and select almost any one item for 50% off, and then we'll load on free stuff. Just enter this very exclusive code, BABE16 at checkout, and you'll get 10 tantalizing free gifts, including a sexy item for him, a special toy for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy. And for your viewing pleasure, 6 free spicy movies on DVD, plus free shipping! Always sent in discreet packaging. So go to adamandeve.com now. Get 50% off plus 10 free gifts when you enter the exclusive offer code BABE16. Again, that's BABE16. Because without it, no free stuff. That's BABE16 at adamandeve.com.
You know, ever since the U.S. Supreme Court handed down its decision lifting the national ban on sports betting, the gambling landscape of the country is changing on a daily basis. So how do you keep up with all the latest news and developments? How do you know what each state is doing? You go to the one site that has all the information you need to stay ahead of the game, and that site is usbets.com. That's usbets.com. Written by the leading experts in the gambling industry, all you'll need is one visit to usbets.com and you'll see why it's the #1 gambling magazine in the USA. With usbets.com, you'll get up-to-date information on not just the sports betting scene, but also the latest news and notes on the entire gaming industry all across the country. It's not just one state, it's all of them in one spot. Stay in the loop and stay on top of your game. Get the latest news on sports betting and gambling from the country's #1 gambling magazine. Get on over to usbets.com. That's usbets.com. Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. You know, our next guest is required reading here at the radio show. John Brennan has been covering the New York and New Jersey sports business and gambling scene since 2002. And believe me, as a gaming lawyer, I can't do my job without the information he provides. From NJOnlineGambling.com and USBets.com, John Brennan. John, thanks for joining us.
Hello. Good to talk to you.
You know, John, the big story in the gambling world, especially in New Jersey, has been the sports betting. And on June 14th, the state opened its first sports book at Monmouth Park and Borgata in Atlantic City. In terms of these two openings, did the crowd size and the excitement meet the expectations of the organizers?
Very well. I'll tell you, a few days before, I was down at Dover Downs in Delaware for the opening, and the governor was there and that sort of thing. There were a couple of days ahead in New Jersey. And, you know, it was sort of, the ceremonies were completed, and now the windows are open, and there's about 4 people walking around, and there was no lines or anything. But Monmouth Park probably had people when the New Jersey governor was getting ready to bet. And, of course, State Senator Ray Lesniak is the father of the whole national movement to get rid of Nevada's gambling, sports betting monopoly, and he made one of the first bets, and he had $50 on France to win the World Cup. So he doubled down at the Meadowlands on Saturday and made himself hundreds of dollars.
Wow, great! You know, about the openings of the two places in New Jersey, there was a big buildup for Monmouth Park, the opening. However, the opening of the Borgata Sportsbook took a lot of people by surprise. I know most people found out about it just the day before. Did you get a sense that there was a big rush to open at Borgata, or was that their plan from the beginning?
Yeah, I had to think about that, because first I was shocked that the revenues were more than double for Monmouth Park over Borgata. Leader, obviously, in Atlantic City has been. I covered their opening 15 years ago, and they've been #1 every month, and you know, the peak season and all that, and a lot of high rollers. So I thought they would do even better, but I think part of it is just that they have so much going on this summer already that sports betting gets a little bit overlooked, and I think they were wise to at least have it available, and they made some money. Didn't seem to be as overwhelming as Monmouth Park, but you know, Dennis Drazen, the operator of Monmouth Park, you know, kind of reminded me that, as you say, for more than 5 years, whenever you heard about the New Jersey sports betting case, Monmouth Park was an official intervener in the case. So they were filing briefs every time things came up, and so that kind of advertising you can't buy. So everyone who knew anything about sports betting in New Jersey, they knew that Monmouth Park was going to have it first, and they didn't necessarily know Borgata or Ocean Resort or some of the others that will follow would have it. So it sort of makes sense in retrospect that Monmouth Park dominated.
When we're talking about grand openings in New Jersey, of course, we have to talk about the double opening on June 28th, the opening of the Hard Rock Casino and the Ocean Resort Casino. And now when it comes to sports betting, the Ocean Resort opened with its William Hill Sportsbook, just like William Hill has a sportsbook at Monmouth Park. But as we speak, Hard Rock does not yet have sports betting right now. Is there any news on any Atlantic City properties or the Hard Rock about getting sports betting on their property?
Yeah, I mean, everybody else pretty much has the mindset of, until football season starts, you had a little bit of NBA finals, NHL finals, Wimbledon, World Cup certainly, but they're nothing compared to college football and then NFL football. So the feeling on the other operators has been, if we're open at the end of August, we're ready to go. And there were a number of applications made yesterday. So the majority of the casinos and tracks and sites that have an option to have sports betting will have it by football season, I think.
Now, recently, regulators in Jersey have released the revenue numbers with regard to the first couple of weeks of sports betting in the state. With regard to Monmouth Park and Borgata, since they have been in existence the longest, what do the figures look like?
I think Monmouth Park, the revenue was about $2.2 million, and Borgata was about $1 million, and Ocean had $200,000 or something. They were only out for a couple of days, so really not much to make of these numbers. They're pretty good, I think, but off season, it's just the expectations. It's hard even to compare to Nevada. New Jersey has a much larger population, but Nevada has a huge, obviously, tourism angle, and people go out there specifically to bet on sports in many cases. So you can't really compare that to what do you think in New Jersey is going to be more. Certainly, Monmouth Park is going to be more locals. You do have tourism, obviously, in Atlantic City, but not to the extent of Las Vegas. So I think the numbers will be pretty solid, but I don't feel confident that anybody really knows what kind of numbers we're going to get.
You said something very interesting with regard to the numbers and Monmouth Park and Borgata. You would think there'd be a lot more people at the Jersey Shore and vacationing, but does Atlantic City, with regard to sports betting, have that problem of, there's so much other things to do that maybe sports betting will be just a smaller percent of the activity as opposed to Monmouth or the new FanDuel track in the Meadowlands?
Well, I mean, there's something very underrated about sports betting for Atlantic City. I think that what you say may be true in terms of the summer because people have gone down there for years and they kind of know how they want to spend their money. And I'll make futures bet or something too, but they kind of know what they're going to do. But I mean, if you think about it, as you know, I've always been amazed that you can go to Atlantic City and mid-May or mid-September, you might get a hotel room at a casino for $39. So it's strange to me that, it's 78 degrees and sunny, but while it doesn't count as summer, I don't really get it, but that's just how the marketplace works. So as soon as things are going to slow down after Labor Day, you've got college football and NFL every weekend. So September, October, November, December, at which point things are usually dead. January for football playoff games, right into the Super Bowl will be huge in Atlantic City, first week of February. So the weekdays will still be dead in Atlantic City, but they'll be booming, I would think, every weekend into February. Then they take it easy for a few weeks, and then March Madness kicks in with college basketball. That's 3 enormous weekends. That gets you into the first week of April. And now the weather's starting to get a little better. So the whole idea of Atlantic City as being purely summer seasonal is going to change a bit. It's, it's every day of the summer, weekday, weekend, and it won't be that for the fall and winter, but it will be a big boost, I think, an underrated boost for Atlantic City once the sports betting kicks in.
I can tell you, I watched the Super Bowl in Atlantic City this year, and I got a room at Bally's for $34 a night. So
you won't get that again.
Yeah, I think that may be a thing of the past now. But with regard to these revenue numbers, are the operators of the sports books pleased with what they're seeing, or do they feel the target has been reached, or is there some room for improvement? What are their general feelings about the revenue figures of the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, they're saying they are pleased. The Meadowlands, I think, took about $1 million in bets the first 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, this weekend, and that was their target, they said. So they said they're pleased about that because that's supposed to be their fall target. So to do that first weekend. But so, I mean, I would say they're pleased, but again, everyone knows that there's just no way to really be too confident or pessimistic or optimistic about what the numbers are going to be. Give football a month or two, and then I think they're going to kind of know what numbers to expect. And so the third month is probably going to be close to what the first 2 months did. And from then on, they can kind of count on what they have, what they need to do, if they need to market more, and so on.
You know, you mentioned it, and when it comes to openings of sportsbooks, my vote for the best location is the FanDuel Sportsbook in the Meadowlands, which opened its doors on July 14th. And according to the New York Times this morning, they took in $560,000, which is the best opening day of a New Jersey sportsbook so far. But the first day was not without controversy. What exactly was the issue regarding the betting lines?
Well, that was the big thing. Not only the World Cup line, the money line, but also the baseball lines. The margin was much higher than is expected. I think it was a miscalculation by FanDuel in that I have a feeling somebody not from New Jersey was figuring, well, we have no competition for the moment, so let's make some extra money on opening day. And there's a lot of novice fans who are just doing it for a lark, and we can just get a great markup. But, of course, on social media, there was immediate backlash. I mean, there are a lot of Jersey and people who've been doing this for a long time, either going out to Las Vegas or visiting their friendly guy around the corner, and so they know what the lines are supposed to be. And so FanDuel had to kind of backpedal, and by the next day, they had moderated the lines quite a bit to something a little more reasonable. There was a little bit of a surprising miscalculation on their part.
I got to tell you, I bet on the Yankees at 11:30 in the morning, and the money line was minus 125. In the afternoon, I saw it minus 200, which I was like looking at. I was like, what is going on here? And I know on Twitter there was a huge backlash. I know people were taking pictures of the big board, especially with the World Cup. So, what was the reaction of the FanDuel officials or the operators of the sportsbook?
Well, I mean, they were around early, and then after the backlash, they weren't around quite as much. So
Smart.
I haven't heard from them on that. But I think the reaction is they changed the lines on the next day. That's all the reaction you need to know. It doesn't really matter what they say. It matters what they did. What they did was make an adjustment, and I don't think we're going to see any major problems again. Because of course, the thing is, if they don't match the local bookie, then a lot of these guys are not going to switch over to legitimate, legal, taxable sports betting. If they can get, if it's the same deal, they might say, well, I don't want to take a risk. I'll just go to the official betting. But if the margins are so far different, then it's going to cost the tracks and casinos because they're not going to be able to lure away that guy who had his local bookie.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've talked to a lot of people about this and regarding the betting lines, and they said, look, New Jersey is a diverse state and with different areas. When you put money on different teams, it might be different. For example, in the NFL, more money is going to go to the Giants and the Jets in the Meadowlands as opposed to more money being placed on the Eagles in Atlantic City. Will we have to be smart consumers on which sports books to use and where to get the best odds when it comes to placing bets?
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on that. And that's the thing. And obviously people in Las Vegas do this anyway. You kind of want to forum shop, venue shop, where if you want to take a team, it's worth making a little bit of effort to see what 6 different books have, because you might as well take the best line. There's nothing else different about the product. It's not like you're having 6 different hamburgers, and one might be more expensive, but if it tastes better, you'll pay for it. Here, a bet's a bet, so you just want to get the best line. So I think people in North Jersey, especially if they live in between the park, they could go that way. And, of course, then we'll get to online sports betting soon enough, and then
Sure.
That's going to be another option to look around.
Well, speaking of online, I know that Meadowlands is called the FanDuel Sportsbook, and they're primarily an online entity. And you just had an outstanding exclusive interview with Matt King, CEO of FanDuel, on NJOnlineGambling.com about the company and the recent deals as made with other companies that will certainly, I think, change the gambling landscape not only in New Jersey, but in other states as well. Can you tell us about the deals that were struck to create the FanDuel Group?
Yeah, well, the challenge was, first you had Betfair. Well, Paddy Power in Ireland has been around for 30 years, and Betfair, about half that, based in London. And they combined not too many years ago, a couple years ago, and that became this massive company. And then, there's a tie-in with TVG, the big horse racing TV network, and then all of a sudden FanDuel buys in with them. So now you've got this, and even the draft daily fantasy sports site as well. So you got this sort of, collision of titans, and they had to figure out, well, what are we going to call this thing? And I think there was some thought that worldwide, Paddy Power and Betfair are such huge names that maybe they should be thinking of incorporating that name. But then they realized that Americans are not familiar with them. Most of them haven't been over there, or if they have, it's very slight. What they know is FanDuel. So their marketing, they found that clearly these bettors would rather tie in with a FanDuel brand. It's ironic, of course, because FanDuel and DraftKings for years have been complaining that they're not really gambling. You don't place a bet, you pay an entry fee, and then you might win some money or you might lose, which sort of sounds like gambling to most people. But so they've gotten past that with most legislatures already. So I think they figured, what, the heck with it. We'll go with the name and go in from there. So it's the FanDuel Sports Book at the Meadowlands Racetrack, Victory Sports Club and nightclub and sports bar. Yeah, it's a little unwieldy, but
stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports. Join the best and the brightest of the esports industry at the Luxor Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas on September 5th and 6th for the second annual Casino Esports Conference, brought to you by Fox Marketing. This 2-day hands-on event will provide the most direct and informative connection for gaming establishments looking to incorporate the esports gaming world into their properties. The Casino Esports Conference will not only educate but actually facilitate your casino's move into the esports industry. Panels include experts discussing wagering, mobile social gaming, the latest technology, and much, much more. Attendees can participate in the Esports Expo and gain tools to implement changes immediately. You can even meet with the esports tournament organizers to explore partnerships to run esports events at your casino or gaming property. Don't wait. Head on over to casinoesportconf.com and register today to attend this exciting and unique look at the esports industry. The second annual Casino Esports Conference, September 5th and the 6th at the Luxor Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. It's one event you can't afford to miss.
We'll get right back to the show, but I want to take a minute to talk to you about Bean Genius. How would you like your coffee delivered right to your door every month, maybe 2 times a month? Well, now that can happen with Bean Genius. Bean Genius sells freshly roasted coffee from some of the best independent coffee roasters in the country at beangenius.com. And Bean Genius actually learns their customers' individual taste preferences, then suggests future coffee blends for them. Well, how do they do that? Well, this is the cool thing about Bean Genius. Over at beangenius.com, they use an algorithm which learns the coffee flavors you like and then pairs up what you like with the coffee that they have in stock. And it's all based upon you. Every time you order, the system learns. The system learns your preferences as you go along and order more and more coffee. And now, all our listeners at Turnpike Sports can get a special offer. You head on over to beangenius.com/subscription, and you'll be able to get 10% off your purchase when you use our promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E, at checkout. That's 10% off at beangenius.com/subscription with promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E. beangenius.com, the smart specialty coffee subscription service.
You've been hearing me talk about MyPillow and the benefits of using it to get a good night's sleep and alleviate your sore neck and back, and special deals you can get through our show. Now, for a limited time, when you buy one MyPillow premium pillow, you get a second one for free. That's right, free, when you use our promo code CARDS at checkout. Head on over to MyPillow.com and click on the buy one, get one free link. You can choose the size of each pillow and choose the fill of each one. You get the same 60-day money-back guarantee, the same 10-year warranty, and all MyPillow pillows are made with their patented interlocking fill. That's the buy one, get one free offer from MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-319-7913 to order by phone. Don't forget to use our promo code CARDS when checking out to take advantage of this great new offer from MyPillow. That's promo code CARDS, C-A-R-D-S. Better sleep starts with MyPillow. Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with John Brennan from NJOnlineGambling.com and USBets.com. Well, is this all an indication? Every time an article comes out about this, people are trying to read the tea leaves. Is this an indication that online sports betting is right around the corner here, or are we talking about weeks or months or whatever away?
I was told by a pretty high-ranking insider that you'll see one online sports betting site up and running within the next 2 weeks, so the end of July, let's say. And then I think you'll see maybe a half dozen others by football season. So, yeah, it's coming. I think there's some technical stuff that's a little bit complicated. So the goal of getting it running for week one of football, which will happen basically with casinos and tracks, obviously, but for the online, it may be a little more complicated than that, but it's coming, and it's coming soon.
Has anyone given you any indication of what online sports betting will look like? I know recently DraftKings sent out a tweet saying that their sportsbook will just be a link on their existing site, and there's going to be a common account for both daily and sports betting. And in light of the new FanDuel group that you reported on, and according to an AP report out just this morning that IGT is partnering with FanDuel to provide kiosks and online platform, what can bettors in New Jersey expect to see online?
Well, there's 9 casinos and 3 racetracks and 2 former racetracks. So there's 14 entities that could possibly offer this. And each of them can have up to 3 brands. So a little bit like online casino gaming where, you can have a Borgata and then they might have a partnership with a big foreign name, let's say, and that's another site. So you'll see up to 40 sports betting sites. I don't think you'll have that maximum, but probably 2 dozen anyway. So, for the most part, it'll be fairly simple. You can go, Meadowlands Racetrack will have something with that name. FanDuel will have something with that name. They're affiliated, but everybody, the license has to be affiliated with one of those tracks or casinos.
One of the most interesting things I saw at the opening of the FanDuel Sportsbook at the Meadowlands was that Dennis Drazen, CEO of Monmouth Park, was there, and he was congratulating the new owners, and he was very supportive. Do you get the sense when talking with the operators of the Jersey sportsbooks that there's a feeling that we're all in this together, and as you go, so I go, regarding the success of sportsbooks? Or is this just the honeymoon period, and the clause and the real competition is going to come out later?
Well, Dennis and Jeff Corral, who runs the Meadowlands Racetrack, are both very competitive people, so that can be a little challenge for them sometimes. I don't think they feel that they're that competitive with each other necessarily. They're both big enough markets, and there's kind of enough to be had by all. I think maybe more interesting will be Atlantic City, because here you have the casinos, chock on top of each other, and they're definitely looking to grab market share. So that if there's going to be heavier competition, it could be down in Atlantic City.
Whether it be New Jersey or casinos or other betting establishments around the country, operators always now want to attract the millennials through skill-based gaming, esports, whatever they want to use to get the younger people into their property. From what you have observed, do you think sports betting will attract millennials or younger crowds to the properties?
It's definitely, clearly far more diverse than horse racing has been, where you can't even find a millennial, really. I found a pretty good mix. The unusual part, and I've done a couple of tweets on this, is I've sort of said, ladies, if you're looking for a place that's 95% male, there's no better spot than a line at a sports book. It's really remarkable. When I covered the NBA in the 1990s and other sports, male sports writers were always so eager to make their picks. Who's going to win the division? Who's going to? And they, every playoff round would be dissected, and then they'd have the 2 Super Bowl finalists, and they'd pick the score, 4 months in advance. And the female sports writer would say, this is so absurd. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Your predictions are terrible every year. If you look back, they were worthless. So why do you even bother? But, there's just something that's still, even as society and culture has leveled off in a lot of ways, there's something very primal, it seems, for men to want to bet, and women probably are smarter, so that maybe they're too smart to do it. But it was almost impossible to find a woman in that sports book. Yeah, but as far as age, yeah, clearly there's a good amount of millennials. There's this theory that millennials won't gamble, because they grew up. 2008 was so bad for their parents, and who knows what happened economically for their family, and a little like a miniature version of people going up in a depression. When you've felt that economic insecurity, it doesn't go away when you grow up necessarily. So there is that feeling, but I think for this, I think the instant part of it overcomes that because they're not going to be able to bet on an event and then watch it and see if they win. They're going to be able to do in-game betting too. So that sort of feeds their dopamine a lot better than, say, a horse race does.
So when it comes to sports betting, what do you think are the next properties that will have a sports book, whether it be a racetrack or a casino?
Well, we got 2 of the 3 tracks already. Freehold is a little bit behind, so you're really looking at the Atlantic City casinos.
I don't even think Freehold is racing right now. I think they open up late August, so horses aren't even racing.
That's not necessarily relevant.
Sure.
I mean, seriously, the people that are going into the sports book are just walking in there. They're not looking out to see if there's a horse on the track.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not so much part of it. But most of the next action you'll see in the coming weeks will be from Atlantic City.
John, like I said, you've been covering the New Jersey and New York area for a long time. Have you ever seen a flurry of activity like this that you've seen in the last 3 or 4 months?
Online casino gaming 5 years ago was pretty interesting because there was this pent-up demand for it in a lot of places. And then once it launched, there was a big hit, and there was a lot of excitement about the numbers. And, what happened there was online poker lobbyists really kind of fueled the legalization in a lot of ways. But then when it became legal, their numbers really weren't that big. And then there wasn't that much thought given to online casino gaming. And then when that happened, it was amazing. So this is bigger than that, though. I certainly remember Borgata opening. It wasn't just them opening. At that time, the casino industry in Atlantic City was still very healthy, 25 years in a row of increased revenue. And so the other properties didn't just yield to Borgata. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars a piece to upgrade. So, in 2003 to 2005, you had Borgata opening, and then you had hundreds of millions of dollars in probably 5 or 6 other casinos. So the upgrades there were pretty spectacular. So there was that sort of heady feeling of, wow, Atlantic City's bigger and better than ever. And then obviously Pennsylvania came around and things went downhill ever since.
We've always got questions the last couple of weeks. What is the Meadowlands going to do about their Sunday regulation that they have to close? Have they worked that out, and have the Jets and the Giants commented on, the sportsbook is right next to the MetLife Stadium. Have they commented on the presence of the sportsbook?
Well, there's a number of complications. First of all, obviously the NFL was leading the charge against sports betting, and they still are not. They're not like weakening like the NBA or Major League Baseball. They're still adamantly against it. Another complication is that the old grandstand was right next to Giant Stadium, and the old grandstand is still standing, but it doesn't operate. So the new grandstand is on the other side of the track, on the old backstretch. So it's about as far away from the stadium as you can get on the grounds. It's less than a mile, but you can't really walk there. It wouldn't be safe with all of the highways and stuff. So it's not that convenient. The racetrack people would like to have a shuttle that would take the Jets and Giants fans, say, before the game or after the game, and then they can go over there and place their bets. But online sports books being ready by then, you don't really have to go to the place. So I don't know that the Meadowlands is going to be able to solve this problem. The Giants and Jets have exclusive rights on game days for and nothing else to be going on in their property. And anything they do, even if it's seen as an accommodation for their fans, is also seen as support for sports betting. So the track people keep telling me, they're working on it. Giants and Jets are laying low, and I'm not convinced they solve it. And big problem, obviously.
New Jersey always is in competition with New York and Pennsylvania. What state do you see is the next to embrace sports betting? I know Pennsylvania, their tax rate is almost prohibitive for people coming in with the sports books. But what do you think? Will it be New York or Pennsylvania, the first to jump into sports betting?
Well, this takes us back to, as I say, 2003, Borgata opens. And by then, New York and Pennsylvania signaled, we're going to add casinos, too. and they just didn't for 3, 4, 5 years. And they finally got their act together. They finally opened, and obviously it caused problems for New Jersey. We're seeing that again. The tax rate in Pennsylvania was somewhat absurd.
Yeah.
I guess maybe one book will open, but I'm not positive. I think the industry naturally is inclined to not even bother. And even if they might live with it, they might be tempted to just say, let's lay low and wait till they give us a better rate. New York has its own problems. They're going to be able to have sports betting at the 4 new casinos, the most relevant one being in the Catskills. The rest of them are further upstate. But as of now, you can't have it, say, at Yonkers or Aqueduct. There's no real plan yet for online sports betting in New York either. So I don't think they're going to be, either one of them is going to be booming anytime soon. And the Meadowlands is thrilled with this, of course, because New Yorkers are obviously going to be looking to bet on football in the football season and find out they can't do it in New York. And the Catskills are a lot further away for a New York City resident than the Meadowlands. I realize even if they don't want to go to the Meadowlands, they have to cross the river in order to bet online. You can't bet online in New York on a New Jersey platform. You have to be in the state lines. And the feeling is, well, if you're going to drive through the Lincoln Tunnel or over George Washington Bridge anyway, you could stop at Starbucks and place a bet and go back, I guess. But you might figure, well, it's only a few more miles to the Meadowlands racetrack. I might as well go there, hang out with people who are watching the game also, and sort of make a day of it. So it should benefit the Meadowlands immensely. Jeff Corral of the Meadowlands tells me that he thinks his numbers are going to be so big that New York will wake up a little sooner, but they won't get anything done until at least next spring. And then you've got Native American casinos. Well, how do they fit into the mix? New York has got some issues here that New Jersey will be able to take advantage of.
John, I know we can read your articles at njonlinegambling.com and usbets.com, but is there another way people can follow where you're at and what's going on?
Yeah, follow me at Bergen Brennan, BERGENAN.
John Brennan from usbets.com and njonlinegambling.com. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
Well, I think that'll about do it for us for Turnpike Sports. See you next time, and we'll see you again on the Turnpike.